Alright, so I just got off the Highway 285 north on the Tsuke exit, heading down into Tsuke on my way to Chupadero. I'm probably not going to be able to film the entire drive, but I'll try to do most of it. The road is not exactly conducive to filming and driving at the same time. Yes, I brought my dogs with me, so I'm going to take them up for a little hike after. So you might hear some whining. There's some joggers. There's the Tsuke fire station, number 1, and we're about probably 8 miles away from the house. That's the county. On the other end of this road, just past where we're going to turn off to go to Chupadero, is the Tsuke Pueblo Fire Department. So there's 2 fire departments, but they're both 7 or 8 miles away. This is Tsuke Village Market. A lot of people love it. They have pizza there and a little deli and baked goods, a little wine shop. It's very expensive though, I think. And then right here is El Nido, which is another little restaurant. And they have sushi in the back. Like, that place gets really good reviews. I haven't been there since it's reopened, or the new owners. It's been a restaurant for like forever, 50 years, but now it's under new management. All the trees are starting to bud out, so everything is looking really beautiful. People are irrigating, you can tell. You can see the opera up there at the top of the hill. See that thing that looks like a giant ship? That's the Santa Fe Opera. It's really pretty. Okay, things kind of open up over here. The Tsuke River is running down there to my left. It's probably running right now. That's a river that does not run year-round. Almost year-round, but of course we're like in the peak of the runoff from the mountains right now, so I'm sure it's gushing. Same thing with Chupadero River. Okay, just up here, about a half mile, we're turning onto 592, which is the county road that goes to Chupadero, Rio Medio. It dead ends at Rio Medio. Basically, it turns to National Forest, right where that white truck is coming out. About a half mile up the road that way is another exit to the highway, 285. You can see some of the cars up there. Sometimes I go that way if I'm heading back into town, but usually I'll just go through Tsuke. Looks like they're getting ready to work on this road. either way, it's going to be a private trash service up here. So let's look around, see if we can see some neighbors' cans and find out who comes up here. Probably Ibadas, maybe waste management. I'll have to research that a little bit. This is all Pueblo land, by the way. Here, this is where we're crossing that. Remember, I kind of told you about. There's this section of Pueblo land. That's where we are right now. And then it switches back to private land just up here. You'll see there's a brand new house on the right that's rather prominent. There it is. Yeah, you kind of see it, right? Boom. I mean, they probably have great views up there and everything, but man, that thing sticks up high. And then we're passing there's a subdivision here on the right and Los Camanitos. It's really kind of neat. There's some cool older houses back up in there. And then on our right, right where those big trees are, this is the Rancho Encantado, which is now Four Seasons. So it's a hotel, basically. And they have a restaurant there and stuff, and beautiful grounds. It's probably looking smashing right now. You kind of see some houses up on the top of that ridge. That's another development. I'm really sorry. This is what my dog does. He can't control himself. This is some horse thing here. And donkeys. Horses and donkeys. Equus. Those are the Sangre de Cristo Mountains right there. Straight ahead. I'll also check the elevation too up here once I get to the house. Lovely. But since this is a county road, if there ever were there's like a big snowstorm, they would plow this road all the way to Rio Medio. It's going to be pretty rare that happens, but it could happen. So on the left here is the entrance for that subdivision where I just pointed out all those other houses. That's called Vista Redonda right there. And then there's a stop sign up here, and 592 goes to the left. See the sign, Rio Medio, Chupadero, and then Aspen Meadows is straight. So going straight is Pacheco Canyon Road, which is the original only road to the ski basin, all the way to the top of the ski basin. And it's probably 10 miles from here. I'll just pull up here a little bit just to show you. And it's gravel graded and it's semi-maintained on this lower part, but once you get up there into the actual canyon, it gets a little bit rough, but you could definitely drive it in a regular four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive vehicle. This lower part is like a dream right now. So it's a road. People drive on it, but it's also really almost better for mountain biking. And this is you know, maybe a half a mile up the road from Chupadero. So I'm gonna take a pause right here. There's still private land along both sides of the road, by the way, before you get into the national forest section. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back. I just wanted to show you the driveway. A little bit bumpy, a little bit rocky. And I'll film some more too, but I'm meeting the septic guy right now. Okay, so I just met with the septic guy, and I'm really glad I came up here because it's a little bit complicated, but it's all, in the end, it's gonna be fine. So here's the picture of this back area with that overhang that you were mentioning, with the shed right there, and then kind of a partial fence. They didn't really finish building it, and then they came and put down these latillas where the general outline is of the casita. So you can get a sense of what that's like right there. And then just on the other side of this fence is the property line, or the fence is the property line, I should say. And the neighbor is right there. So you can see how this erosion is gonna not be really an issue right here, because you're coming down on this peak, and then the water's going to the left and to the right. That's a pretty steep arroyo down there, but you know, it's not really ever going to hit the house. There's not going to be enough surface to carry water down into this area. All these white flags are marking the invisible fence, because I think she has a small dog. Anyways, that's what those are all for. You did catch a quick view of the driveway coming up. I just want to go around here while we're here to show you the septic. And there's my papers. Let me grab those. So it's really starting to green up. Okay, so here are the cleanouts. One goes to the house, one goes to the tank. There's 3 openings here. The tank sits right underneath these 2, okay? This one is the front of the tank. This one's the back of the tank. Everything with the tank, it looks fine. It is concrete, and it's the original tank from when the mobile home was here. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes those other tanks are way better than any of the newer tanks. Nobody really does concrete anymore. Most of the newer tanks are usually like a plastic or PVC material. Now here is the pump. The reason why there's a pump is that the leach field is around on the other side of the house. The old leach field used to be right here, which is fine. It just needs to be semi-flat. The problem is that it's so steep right here, you can't do a leach field down that way to where the property line is. But if you look out where that power pole is to the right of that black mailbox, that is where the well is for the Chupadero Water Association. And when it's a public well, their leach field cannot be closer than 200 feet from the well. And standing right where I am, this is less than 200 feet. So that's the reason why that pump was added on and then routed this way around the back side of the house, which is what these 2 extra small cleanouts are for right here. And then you end up with your leach field starting right about here. and it runs out that way. He said he thinks it's 2 different directions. He's gonna map that out for us. But this area basically in here from where I'm standing over the fence is essentially the leach field. You really kind of want to leave that be. It's okay if you park on it, like where my car is right now is fine, but you don't want to park like up close by that fence. It's not going to hurt anything, but you don't want to make it a regular thing that you're parking on top of the leach field. And then what's also I want to point out is that in the permit, he already ran a 4-inch line from right up around in here this way back to the tank. So if you did want to add on the guest house, you could do it and then just tie into this existing line here. And you've got enough elevation that you wouldn't probably need a pump, and it would just come tie in right here. He said it was like right here where the 4-inch line is. And then it just runs back around here to the tank. And the size of the tank is permitted so that you can add that casita on without having to adjust the size of the tank. That all makes sense. Boom. And let me just show you a little bit more. There is an alarm that's tied on to the pump in case the pump ever fails, which the pump itself, it not fail, it's probably more the electric. So anyway, in that electric box are 2 separate circuits. One is for the pump itself and one is for the alarm. So if the power ever gets tripped off for any reason, like lightning hits or something like that, you'll be able to know right away because that red light goes on and it emits a sound too. Also, what you have over here on the wall is all the stuff for the photovoltaic and the rec meter. So 1 meter is, that one is the PNM meter. This one is your meter, the rec meter, that one. And then the rest of the, you have to have the disconnect in here and all that stuff. I'm gonna ask them for documentation on this whole system, but also there should be paperwork in here too about it. Yes, okay. So I'm gonna ask for PDF copies of that so we can understand all about the solar photovoltaic. And yeah, and that's it. And those panels are all on the roof. We have not seen those yet, but we'll get a good shot of those tomorrow when we're here for the inspection. Those are the planter boxes that she's planning on taking with her. I think there's more too. There's 3 or 4 right there as well. And there's one more right there. So there you have it. Tomorrow when I'm here, I'll do some more videoing of the inside of the house. We have a good understanding about how that all works. There's the neighbor across the way. It's starting to really green out down in the valley too. It's gonna be awesome. And I'll finish filming the way out too because I didn't have a chance to do that. I was trying to hustle over here to meet that guy. Okay, 6910 from where I was parked. So it's just under 7,000 feet. I thought it was gonna be higher than that for some reason, but I guess you do come down a fair amount when you, after the top of 285. That brings the elevation back down. So just under 7,000 feet, probably where the house is. Normally I would go right to get back into town, but I just want to show you guys up and over this hill, just a quick snapshot of Rio Medio. Since I'm up here, we might as well get a look at it. It's really gorgeous. I mean, it's pretty spectacular up here. And Rio Medio is just a small little village too. I would say maybe 20 families live there. There's a couple of newer houses that are built up there on those ridge tops there. Most of the older homes are down in the valley near the river. But if you lived up there, imagine those are the views that you're getting all the way across to the Jemez. So they have a little community center. There was one road there that goes up to those newer houses that I just mentioned. A couple down there in the valley. And some crazy driveways to the right, but most of the people are down here in the valley. You can see where all the green, or it's all greening up. It's mostly cottonwoods, but I'm sure there's elms in there too. The river's down there. Rio Medio runs year round. A good friend of ours used to live up here. He was a musician. He had a studio up here too, so always tons of musicians hanging around. He used to have Rio Medio Fest, which was just a bunch of his friends come up and play. We played outside, had it all set up in the stage set up in the property next to him. That was actually the house he lived in. I almost sold that last year to a guy, but he backed out at the last minute. Doesn't really look like they've done a whole lot of work to it. And then here's the church. Okay, and then you go up there to the end of the road, basically, which is where the trailhead is or was. But of course it's closed now. And they have it kind of reserved off for emergency vehicles and stuff. I've never been in this church. I've always wanted to see it. It's pretty cool. Reserved for priest. He gets to park right in the front. So that's it. Not a whole lot. Not a whole lot going on in Rio Medio, but they have acequias up here. I don't know if anybody actually farms anymore, but I sure would like to see that if it were the case. But more and more, there's less people doing that. It's a lot of hard work. All right, now I'm heading back down the road, and I'll film until we get back to the stop sign, which is where I kind of left off on the way coming up here. So just so you know, he's not done on that septic yet. He's gonna put a new pump in because he discovered a whole bunch of roots down in there, which shouldn't have been there, but because of how it's sitting up higher than where the trees are, you wouldn't expect to find roots in there. But oh, by the way, there's the volunteer fire department right there. I don't think that counts as an actual fire department because it's just volunteers, so you don't know if people are going to show up or not to help put out a fire. They probably will, but maybe that's something Charlie could look into getting involved in. I'm sure they could use the help. Anyway, the roots got really entangled down in there, and he's going to have to clean all the roots out, put a new pump in, and then he's moving the electrical box. So she built that deck on top of the stuff after he was done with his stuff, and she moved that electrical box in a way that it could potentially get wet. So he's going to fix that too, so that it's in a waterproof rocks down in there, and so it won't actually accidentally trip out, which would turn the pump off. So in any case, it's all stuff that needs to be dealt with, and it's something that she needs to do, because you can't buy the house unless there's a new permit to operate that septic system from the state. And that guy, I can't remember his name right now, but he was quite a hoot. He's definitely going to be your good point of contact going forward, because he built that system. He knows all about it. Usually you want to stick with the same septic guy if you can, just because of their familiarity with it. You can see Baldy right up there. You can see a little bit of the burn scar where that fire came over the very top of those two peaks, where it looks like really browned out. That's how close the fire got to coming down into Rio Medio. That was pretty scary. That was back in 2022, I think, is when that fire was. Okay, so now we're back on the kind of the main road. Remember, if you go left here, you're going up Pacheco Canyon. That turns into Forest Service, and then right is back down into town. And let me just keep the camera on for another minute so you can catch the views heading back into town. It's pretty spectacular. I'll finish telling you the story of the septic later. That's all going to get fixed and repaired and up to date.